Have you ever wondered how people make tens of millions of dollars on Shopify or e-commerce in general, or $100,000 in their first day in business? Well, in today's video, I'm going to share with you all the ninja hacks that I've learned from working with 600 plus businesses. I've learned from being a registered and authenticated Shopify expert by Shopify, one of the only ones in Australia. And this is everything I learned over the last few years. And you'd be surprised that lots of people have lots of things in common that really made it. So the first thing is, how did someone make millions of dollars in the first couple of years they were in business? Well, a few people we've worked with have actually done this. They've actually invented basically a new product or newer version of an older product sort of thing. So what they've done is they've taken things that they've learned from their trade, from their work that they've done before, and actually made a product that no one sells, or actually a product that is much better than the ones on the markets and solves a bigger problem. So this thing is like, if you pick the right product that no one has really sold or made or anything like that. Most people that have done this are people that have been in their niche for many years, and they've done very, very well because they understand that niche very well and they understand what the people in that niche need. So this has actually happened a few times where someone's done that. It's not as common. So out of like 600 businesses we've worked with, probably like 40 of them have a brand new product sort of thing. So it's not very common. There's lots of other things that have helped people to generate more income. The next one is being consistent. Like, you might have heard people say this before, but I always like to think of consistency as being lucky, and you make your own luck. So a lot of the businesses we've worked with that started maybe before we ran into them, or they're making a little bit of progress when we run into them, or they're doing very well when we run into them. All of them basically had the same thing when it comes to consistency. They just kept showing up. Even in my business, I just kept showing up for years and years and getting better and better and better at building websites. And a lot of our clients, they just kept showing up, posting on social media, building a brand, stuff like that. A few years ago, I couldn't believe this one business was making $1 million organically through their Instagram feed, through their Instagram account for free. This might have been maybe 4 years ago. And I asked the lady, I was like, how do you make $1 million a year through Instagram for free? Just posting. And she said, look, Clayton, it comes down to this. I was consistent. And I was like, what do you mean? And she said, I was consistently posting every single day on Instagram for 6 years straight. She only missed 4 days in 6 years. So she built up this very big following. And now just from one platform, she makes over $1 million a year. Her business was doing maybe $5-6 million a year, $1 million from Instagram. So I really started to look at other businesses after I spoke to her, and a lot of them had lots of things in common where maybe they weren't posting every single day on Instagram or social media, but they're posting like 2 or 3 times. They just kept trying to grow their account. Even this YouTube channel, that's what I'm trying to be lately as well, is be consistent. I've been caught up in my agency and I want to give a lot of value and stuff like that. So follow on the journey so I can keep giving free value. I always think if you be consistent, you make your own luck. If you don't make much money now, next year you don't, and then you're making millions of dollars the third year, millions of dollars the fourth year, people are going to look at you in 4 years from now and be like, oh, you just got lucky. But there's so much work that went into that luck. And I think a lot of people look at people who they rise from nothing, it seems overnight, but there's many years of being consistent behind that. Message, be consistent and go the right way as well. All right, so you probably heard me say a client made $100,000 in their first day in business. I will never see this happen again, I don't think. It was the craziest thing I've ever seen in all the years I've been on Shopify. I've been on Shopify 10 years. I've been building websites for nearly 6 years now. And I don't think I'll ever see something as crazy as this. And I like to call it the love factor. So what I normally tell people is when they build a website, if people love them, it doesn't really matter about their website. They can have broken links everywhere and someone will find their way to the checkout. But normally when we build a website, it's more those people on the fence that will start buying stuff. And this person is a great example of what I like to call the love factor. So imagine this scenario. Someone is the most passionate person I've ever run into about their niche. I don't think I've ever run into someone more passionate than this guy. And he'd been posting on Instagram for years, sharing his passion with people on Instagram. And you might be surprised, from memory, he had 5,000 or 8,000 followers on Instagram, which is not a lot. and they did $100,000 in the first day when they launched. So imagine years and years of posting, being super passionate, and then one day you turn around and you're like, I'm gonna start a business. Hey everyone, I'm gonna start a business selling this stuff. I love it, it's my passion. And then we built the website. The craziest thing that I seen was we were meant to launch the website at 6 or 7 p.m., something like that. And there was like 400 people on the password page waiting for the website to launch, which was, my mind was blown, and I'm freaking out because I built this website. This is a few years ago, and I'm like, there's hundreds of people on the password page. This is crazy. And then when we launched the website, basically their analytics just keep refreshing. So it kept ticking non-stop for like a couple of hours. And then they ended up, it was actually 25 hours. They did 100,000. I think out of 24, they were at like 97,000 or something like that. By the time they hit 100,000, every single one of their payment gateways had been shut down. So that's actually another tip, is like, if you think you're going to get like a massive influx of sales, actually contact your payment gateways, because that was a big lesson that I learned back then, is that imagine heaps of people are going to your website and then every single one of your payment gateways get shut down. So by the end, no one could buy anything because every single one of their gateways was shut down. I'm pretty sure Shopify payments I had from memory, PayPal got shut down, and a couple of other payment gateways got shut down that do payment, like spread out the payments. I think it was Afterpay maybe. I can't 100% remember, because it was like about 3 years ago, something like that. But yeah, the message behind that story is that if you're passionate about something and you build a following, you don't have to have a massive following to make hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars. That guy actually made millions of dollars in about 6 months. Maybe I'll talk more about that. Let me know in the comments if you want to learn more about that. All right, the next one is people just believing in themselves, backing themselves. I think a lot of people don't know how to handle it when they keep getting punched in the face. I feel like business is basically like being punched in the face a lot. You know, if you get punched in the face one time and you fall down and you're like, screw this, I'm out. A lot of people, they'll get punched in the face once or twice and they're like, nah, I'm out, I'm done. But a lot of the people that make it, they just keep pushing through adversity. Like even myself, I've had lots of struggles with this business and stuff. I come within a week of going bankrupt, and the biggest thing in my mind was like, when I was going to go bankrupt, I basically told myself, I don't care if I lose my house, I lose everything, I'm going to make this business work. And basically that night, my whole business took off. A couple of things not long later exploded my business, and my business hasn't slowed down for like the last 4 years. And to think I was like a day away from giving up, sort of thing. So a lot of the people that I've run into are very similar, that are making millions of dollars, tens of millions of dollars a year. And basically every challenge that come their way, they will either like, yep, let's do it. It sucks, but we've got to do it. Or they'll be like, oh, this sucks. But then they come around and they're like, I'm going to make this work. I believe in myself. And a lot of people talk about like motivation and things like that. And yeah, it's just, it really depends. Like you need to find the thing that's going to get you pumped up and be like, I can do anything. I'm going to do it. I'm going to make it work. Things like that. So whatever works for you, you got to find what works for you. That's what I believe. All right. Another thing that I could not believe at the time. So some people might know this about me, but I actually don't really like drop shipping. I like the idea around drop shipping, but I don't actually like drop shipping in the way that you might think. So a lot of the clients that we've had, so we've had 600 clients, 100 of them were drop shippers, and the other 500 were mainly people that sell their own products. And early on in my business, I actually made 100 drop shipping websites, and I got very upset with the idea of drop shipping, and I decided that that's it. I'm not going to work with any drop shippers anymore, and I've only worked with a handful of them over the years. But the crazy thing that I actually learned and seen in drop shipping is that basically we built 100 websites for drop shippers. Most people just thought they were going to get rich overnight, and business definitely is not get rich overnight. It's very rare that anyone would just get rich overnight. There's a lot of work, there's a lot of effort that goes into stuff like this. So I come across a lot of people that just wanted a Lambo like tomorrow after launching their dropshipping website, and I didn't really like that. And then in my old business, I was very big on like getting things shipped quickly to someone, and I didn't like the idea of things taking 4 weeks to get to someone. But I ran into this lady that made millions of dollars doing eBay dropshipping from a website, Amazon dropshipping or something. I don't 100% know about the Amazon one, but she was doing something like that. And I couldn't believe this because this lady was 40, 50, something like that. Nothing against anyone older or anything like that. I'm nearly 40 myself. The thing that I couldn't believe is like, how did someone with all the challenges, so she probably had more challenges and more things to face in her life than any one of the other 100 people or 99 people or whatever that I built dropshipping websites for. When I spoke to her on the phone, it all come down to this. She had kids to feed. And you know, when you love your kids or your family or something like that, a lot of people will do anything or whatever it takes to look after the people they love. And that's what I've seen over the years. I've run into people like that where they will do anything for the people they love. And when your back's against the wall and your kids aren't going to eat, or your mum or dad is struggling or something like that, that's when a lot of people get something that I like to call like a superhero sort of power in their business, and they will just do anything. They will become like a machine. They can work 20 hours a day. They can just keep powering through because they're doing it for the people they love. And this lady made millions of dollars, and I just could not believe it that I'd worked with dropshipping, had more advantage and more chance to make it work than her, and she made it work because she loves her family. And over the last few years, I've actually run into people where it's like, you know, Clayton, I need to make this work because I got kids to feed, and you know, oh, like my husband makes okay money, but we want to buy a house for our kids, or we want to provide for our kids, or my mum's sick or my dad's sick and there's hospital bills and stuff like that. And it is sometimes it's a superpower. Like I watched something on YouTube where it was like, what was it, $10,000 or something? They're like, can you get $10,000 by tomorrow? And a lot of people would say, no, I can't. But then it's like, what if one of your loved ones was gonna die if you didn't get the 10,000 by tomorrow? Would you be able to get the 10,000? And like a lot of people would do anything to get that 10,000 because they love that person. They don't want to see them suffer. So sometimes things are hard, but you can definitely use the hard times to your advantage. Some of the best things that have happened in my life, it's basically I've risen from the ashes of the worst times in my life have made me the best version of myself. The times I've been knocked down the most, I've got back up and become 10, 20, 100 times better than I used to be. I've actually been in business for many years now. I've had multiple businesses and stuff like that. So I've listened to lots of gurus, done lots of courses and stuff like that. And something I've learned about gurus and people on the internet, even listening to me right now, a lot of people are just making it up as they go. So a lot of massive influencers or gurus or coaches and stuff like that, in the moment right now, they might say this is such a great idea. And then 4 years from now, they're like, that was one of the worst things I ever did. So I always like to think of it like this. Take any advice with a grain of salt, test it yourself. Just because someone says it works or doesn't work, test it yourself and see what works for you. We're all different. We believe different things. We do different things. Some things work for some people, some don't for others. So find what works for you. And like I always say to people, pretty much anything's possible when you put your mind to it. You just got to put your mind to it. So what are you going to put your mind to? So there's some things that I wanted to share with what I've just noticed and stuff like that. Being consistent, having a good new product, even just having a good product and a new spin on a product that people have had before, the love factor, building a brand, and doing whatever it takes. So if there's anything that's worked for you, let me know in the comments. Anything that you want to add to this, I'd love to chat about it. Also, check out the videos wherever, and until next one, have a good one.